So you started building your brokerage. And I think
Yep.
at the same time, if I understand it right, you started investing in your own properties as well, correct?
Yep.
So how did that play out? What year, I guess, did you start your brokerage, and how did it grow over time?
Yeah, we were, so I was licensed in 2012, and 2016 or 2015, around there, we really got going, started selling houses. And it started first with my assistant at Keller Williams at the corporate office came with me. I was like, look, give me 90 days to get my feet on the ground. Okay. Because otherwise I'm just going to pay you to watch me get set up. But I promise after 90 days, I'll bring you in. And she's still with me today. She's amazing. And, if you have a hard time coming up with a job description for an executive assistant, you just tell them your job is to make your value twice as large to everything that you do. So she doubles me, and she's amazing at it. So she came in after 90 days and was my first employee. And the business didn't deserve to hire her, but I knew who she was. I knew her track record. I knew that she wasn't a person that I was going to have to tell to do anything. Like, she was just going to help me grow the business at all costs. She's like in the trenches with me. Doesn't matter if she has a license or not. She's going to do the thing. And so we worked together to grow and just systematically over time, adding admin first, then agents. We built this brokerage team, and I have 3 agents that work with us on the team. And then we have 4 administrative folks that support those. Count me 4 agents. So we have 4 admins supporting 4 agents and a couple of virtual assistants. And, but I didn't do everything at one time. It just systematically, when you always want to lead with admin support, because producers, they don't sign up to do admin things. They sign up to produce, and that's what you want them doing. That's how you all make the most money. So as you're building the admin team, you will know, because you'll have capacity, and then you go get the producers. And so we did that. The number of homes that we've sold, I think the first year sold like 28 homes. Second year in the 40s, and then it just really went up, and now we're in the hundreds of transactions. This year's been a humbling year, just because the number of houses that are selling right now are just so low. But I believe our market share is right. I think we're still gaining ground, and I know we're doing the right things. But yeah, we've continued to grow over time, and I think the future's bright. I mean, it's a great business, very profitable. And then investing, to your point, whenever we would sell a big house, we would buy an investment property, essentially. So you get fortunate here and there to have a big payout with an opportunity that you're developing, and rather than spend that on a new car or go buy a bigger house myself or anything like that, Chris and I have always gone and bought an asset. And so this is another great thing for the military. My wife and I got married, and we were married for over 9 years before we had our first child. And she was working as a CPA, and I was working in the military. And she lived off her income, and I put mine 100% in the bank. And so we found ourselves married 10 years. We were married for 10 years, and we'd never lived off my income. Not one time.
Wow.
We just lived off hers for 10 years. And when we had the baby, we were like, okay, well, now we have real responsibilities. Let's combine our accounts. And so that's when we brought everything together. But we had 10 years of marriage underneath our belt before we ever thought about living off of the second income. So we've saved half our income, our basically our whole adult lives together.
Wow.
And that's given us the ability to go acquire assets too, which is when you're saving half of what you make and deploying that into assets, I mean, that you can accumulate things faster that way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a smart strategy that you did where you had your active income focus. And then like you said, you'd take excess and put that into investments. I think the thing that I've seen a lot of or happen to a lot of people is that it can be distracting. Like they can, the investments can take them on a tangent, and then all of a sudden the thing that got them there goes away. I'm curious how you analyze opportunities, and maybe you can talk through some of the things that you've invested in, and how you decide this is worth the time and effort.
Yep. I'll say this. I'm a real estate guy. Everything that I do is around real estate, and I would love it if it was just residential real estate. Okay. So I buy residential single family homes. That's what I invest in. Now, once I've accumulated a certain number of properties, I started as a limited partner investing in some commercial assets. But I wasn't the person making those decisions. Your financial advisor, your accountant, and all. They start to tell you like, okay, well, why don't you diversify a little bit? Well, I like real estate, so my diversification went from single family to commercial real estate. But it was still real estate, and I understood the purpose of cash flow and how that mitigates risk. And I understood the tax benefits of real estate. I understood how to look at a deal and see if it was a good one or not. The type of real estate, I mean, that can change, but what your fundamentals for how you pick a good asset, that's pretty consistent. When I was, I think in the 5th year of my real estate business, I was selling a good amount of homes, but I wanted more luxury homes in Central Austin. And my database has a bunch of people that look like me in it. And that's natural, right? Because, database is built from your friends. It's built from my MBA program. It was built from Kristen's finance, family there that she was working with. So we had all these great people that were all buying houses and selling houses, but the multi-million-dollar homes that were right around downtown in Austin, we didn't have a lot of that business. And I wanted more of that. And so whenever you want something in business, you start looking at your competition and asking yourself, well, how do they get it? And again, you look at yourself and say, well, what am I good at? And what resources do I have to be able to go and kind of attack this a way that someone else has already proven to be successful? And I was looking at these builders and these builders had guys like me calling them all the time, like saying, hey, I want to buy this. As soon as you're done selling, like I have a buyer for this. As soon as you're done with the house, let me buy it. And I was seeing a lot of the new construction homes selling to unrepresented buyers. I'm like, man, what an opportunity there for my real estate business to capture some unrepresented buyers. Even if they don't buy my new construction home, I can still work with them to go find what they're looking for. So I was like, okay, well, to lead generate for more listings in Central Austin, I'll just start a construction company. And, I went and found a guy that I call him my gray-haired guy. He had been building for 30 years. And I said, how much do I got to pay you to come build houses for me? And he said, well, if you guarantee me this every year, I'll come build you a house and we'll sell it together. I said, done. And so the construction company was started with me and him and his cell phone, because his cell phone had all the people at the city and their numbers. It had all these subs that he'd worked with the last 30 years, the cabinet guys, the foundation guys, the framers. And we scratched together a little budget. We went and found his property, bought the property, and he built a home. And for 12 months, I took calls on that home from unrepresented buyers and was starting to convert them into clients, and then we sold the house, and it went really well. We made a nice profit, and so for 4 years I didn't spend a single dollar out of my construction company, not a single dollar. that I spend out of the construction company. So I just kept pouring it back into more opportunities.
You're saying the profit left over after everyone was paid.
That's right. Yep.
Got it.
So I either bought more properties or I hired more people, and that's how I scaled. So I was blessed to have the brokerage company that essentially I lived off of. So I didn't need the money from the construction company. I just wanted the leads from it. The leads from my brokerage company.
Did you need to be involved? And from a time perspective, was he pretty much handling all the day-to-day of that, or were you?
Yeah, but he needed leadership.
Okay.
So, and he didn't have the MBA, Kirby. And I worked with investors on these deals because we scaled up a little faster than just the horsepower that I have, or maybe the risk. Mm-hmm. My risk tolerance to put all that money into one thing, I'd rather share the reward with investors rather than be so, concentrated in that part of my life. So yeah, I did. So I worked with investors. I'm the one that worked with the banks. I worked with the attorneys. Of course, I did all the acquisitions and sales. And then I needed to lead him. He needed leadership to stay on track. But he knew how to build the house. And so I did spend a lot of time. But that time that I spent in the construction company, it was the same time that I was using to lead generate for more opportunities. So
right.
rather than call a bunch of for sale by owners, rather than go door knock, rather than call these withdrawn lists and all the stuff that agents do to try to drum up business, I just repurposed that time into leading a construction company that I just happened to make a profit and lead generating through that. And I'm happy to say, this year, late last year, I brought in a CEO and he's leading the company now. So
wow.
I'm still involved. But now I'm spending, again, all of my time on my brokerage business again with just a small sliver in the construction company because it's got a leader now that I can just, touch base with. And he's growing it. He's growing it well. He's the right fit. And, it's paying off. So, and then and you mentioned this at the beginning, I have a laundry company.
Before you go on that, I just had a quick question because I think this is something that if I was listening, I'd want more clarification on because I know this is your expertise and it's leadership. And you mentioned that this partner, he had the skills, but he needed leadership, and so you helped lead him, and it was really successful. What does that mean when you say that? What from a blocking and tackling standpoint?
Yeah.
What did you do that helped him be successful if someone else is in the same position?
Yeah. So, as a leader, I think every day you start with just vision, because I think vision's exciting, but vision also tells you if it's done perfectly, this is what it looks like in the end, right? This is what it looks like when done right. And as a leader, your job is to tell the people on the team that vision, and you do it all the time. Because even though the vision is simple, people they'll lose sight of the vision. They'll just veer off, because life, they got more going on in their life than just your home that they're trying to build. Priority, just making sure that the priority is super clear. We got 8 hours of work today. What are you going to do? And, he would give me the things that he was going to do. And I'd say, hey, look, let's start with this and then work down the rest of it. Right. Again, I wasn't telling the guy how to build the house. I was just telling him what was most important today in pursuit of our vision. And I would tell him why so that he understood why. Yeah, and leadership, again, leadership is teaching people how to think. If you could teach them how to think to get what they want and their motivations align with yours, then you're going to get what you want as a leader. So you just got to teach them how to think and how to go get what they want and have the right people on board, and they'll go get it. So there's vision, there's priority, there's accountability. Did you get done what you thought you were going to get done? And if that accountability exposes problems. And in the military, we were taught when there's a problem, you always look at yourself as a leader first. You ask yourself first, have I trained this person well enough to succeed? Yes or no? Next, did I equip this person well enough to succeed? Do they have the resources needed? Yes or no? Then have I motivated them well enough to succeed? Yes or no? Right? If you say, yes, I've trained them, yes, I've equipped them, yes, I've motivated them, and they still can't get the job done, they're not technically capable of doing the job, and you just made a poor hire, right? But those are the things. So that vision, the priority, the accountability, and just making sure you're doing your job as a leader, like that's what I did. It's nothing too nuanced. It's just those high level things, just over and over every single day.